Sorry, I had to fix my earring. Of course, that happens right before I enter the stage. Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for attending today's 2024 design presentation. I am so extremely honored to share this stage with these three incredibly talented designers, and we're so excited to dive into what we believe are the hottest trends of 2024. Now, I must admit, when I was first asked to present this class, I thought, no, me? No way. Now, if you know me in this room, you know I can be a bit inappropriate. Maybe a little bit more than a bit. I can swear like a sailor. So I'm gonna do my best today and be appropriate, but apologize in advance. So my nerves definitely kicked in. But as I started reflecting back on the last 20 years in design, excuse me, I'm a little nervous here, I started just remembering how fascinating our industry is and how much it's evolved over the last 20 years. It actually led me into digging up some photos deep in my attic, probably started from a floppy disk to a thumb drive. And let me tell you, I could not help but laugh and remember the days before HGTV and Pinterest. I've got to share a few of those before we get into today's design trend. Now, some of you may not know any of this. You guys are probably a bit too young. Oh, goodness. All right, the lovely dusty knick-knack shelves. I remember this being a 90s staple. It was at every cabinet end in every kitchen. Noelle, you've got to remember decorating these.
Absolutely. And ivy all over the top of the cabinets. You could not get enough ivy.
Who wants to dust that? Now, who remembers white and bisque kitchen phase? White existed in kitchen faucets. Who thought of that? I remember the days where bisque started slowly phasing away. People thought the world was coming to an end. I was like, all we have is white and black and stainless. And they were like, stainless, terrible. So it was bisque everything. Laminate countertops. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't picked up laminate countertops in years, but I remember just picking it from a fun chain of samples that were 1x2, which featured high definition textures, glossy marble finishes. It was always paired beautifully with that bold grain oak cabinets in the kitchen. It's gorgeous. Okay, my favorite, last but not least, balances. Now, I remember spending a fortune on custom-made balances for our model homes. I'm still not quite sure what a point of a balance is, other than it reminds me of my daughter's crop tops. Just doesn't fit all the way to the window. The window is what I'm talking about. So certainly we've come such a long way. I had to share a few of my favorites. Now, if you have any of these in your home, keep them. You'll see today that design tends to circle back around, so keep them. But hire a cleaner. Now, let's go ahead and get to introducing and welcoming our amazing panel, starting with, Kelly West. Kelly West brings a wealth of experience and enthusiasm for residential design to her role as assistant design manager with Main Street. Thank you. Oh, wait, hold on. There we go. Woo! Sorry. Before joining Main Street Homes, Kelly serves as a senior research analyst at the University of Richmond, where her meticulous attention to detail honed her analytical skills. However, after navigating the process of building her own home, she discovered her true passion for residential design. Since joining Main Street Homes 9 years ago, Kelly has advanced from design consultant to senior design consultant and now to her current role. Throughout her journey, she has collaborated with hundreds of clients to bring their dream homes to life. Her expertise and dedication are reflected in her certifications as a design consultant professional and her recognition for exceptional customer service. Kelly's creative flair has also led to the design of several award-winning model homes. Outside of her professional life, Kelly cherishes time with her family, including her husband and her lovely 2 young sons, whether enjoying time with loved ones or engaging in creative projects. Kelly's commitment to excellence and passion for design remain at the heart of everything she does. Now on to Stephanie Bensley. Inspiring home buyers to create their dream home is a privilege Stephanie does not take lightly. As one of the very first certified design consultant professionals by the National Design Studio Institute, Stephanie prides herself on quickly discovering a buyer's style, ensuring a home's functionality, all while helping buyers stay within budget. With almost a decade of helping buyers personalize their future homes with Chesapeake Homes, Stephanie's favorite moments in the design gallery are when a buyer sees her selections come together and they have that aha moment of experience their dream home coming to life. Incorporating form, function, and a little fun into all of her design appointments make for a positive, lasting impressions with all who enter Chesapeake Homes Design Gallery. Stephanie is a local to the coastal Virginia area, born and raised in Chesapeake, Virginia. She is a proud fire wife and a mom to a creative genius teenager. When she's not at work, Stephanie loves cozying up on the couch reading fiction, going to concerts, and coming up with design projects for her own home inspired by the buyers she meets with each day. And last but certainly not least, Noelle is the president and senior designer of Builders Concierge, which specializes in model home merchandising and design for new home construction. Growing up in High Point, North Carolina, AKA the furniture capital of the world, with a father who served as a general contractor for multiple furniture showrooms, Noelle was immersed in all things home fashion and interior design her whole life. This led to a love of the industry that runs deep in her soul. Noelle considers her incredibly fortunate to have enjoyed 20 years of designing model homes. With her passion for interior design and a hunger to deliver exceptional quality and service, she founded Builders Concierge in 2016. Her number one goal has been creating model homes that connect emotionally with potential buyers, excite new home consultants, and deliver results through increased sales. Under her leadership, the company has been instrumental in billions of dollars in sales for numerous builders throughout the U.S. With a consistent mindset for growth, both professionally and personally, Noelle invests a great deal of her time attending educational events relative to both interiors as well as sales and marketing for new home construction. She believes strongly in maintaining a constant heart of service for her clients and aims to understand the full scope of their current challenges and strategies for success. When Noelle isn't working, she enjoys spending time at the lake with her husband and 2 sons, watching her youngest play baseball, her oldest race go-karts, and on the rare quiet moments, reading. Please help me in welcoming this amazing panel of designers with a big round of applause. All right, so the agenda today, Kelly is going to go ahead and kick it off with all things kitchen, followed by Stephanie, who will discuss bathroom retreats. And lastly, Noelle will speak about interior design and features, and if time allows, we'll open it up at the very end for Q&A. Q&A. Q&I. I don't know what that means, but Q&A. Kelly, take it off.
Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right into some current trends that we're seeing in kitchens. We have really seen a huge increase in the use of textured materials in kitchens over the past, I would say 12 to 18 months. The first picture that you see features an undulated backsplash tile, and we are seeing more and more of this. This is also often being paired with really beautiful leathered and honed countertop surfaces. And these different textured materials are such a great way to add a really interesting visual touch to your home. Bev, have you been seeing an increase in the use of textured materials in the kitchens that you're designing?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Huge increase. I think it's such a fun, small way to really create character and dimension in the space. What I love especially about that backsplash right there is the movement. I call it sexy. Like my husband, curves and all. I love it. I want it. Don't tell him. He's not here, so I'm off the hook. We're good.
I think he would be okay with that anyway.
Fine. He's good.
And another shift that we've seen is the move away from microwaves and under cabinet hoods to larger, more prominent hoods, such as stainless steel canopy hoods and even more customizable cabinet hoods. And that's kind of what you're seeing in the center picture. And that hood is actually done in a beautiful black finish paired with a natural wood accent. And I think something else that we're seeing a ton of are just really beautiful, bold color choices. And bold colors have definitely been center stage for 2024. And this is a trend that I personally am here for. I think the gold and black accents that you're seeing in the picture all the way to the right create such a beautiful and timeless aesthetic. And that pairing of the black and gold is just such a beautiful statement, but it's also classic. So this is something that while it is very on trend for 2024, I do think it's something that will always look fabulous in any kitchen design. I also want to point out that we are not here today to make anybody feel like you have to go home and demo your entire kitchen. So as you're looking at these slides, if you see some of the things that you're interested in, there are tons of ways to incorporate these trends into your home without going home and taking a sledgehammer to your kitchen cabinets. If you're someone who currently has maybe some satin nickel hardware, you could easily swap that out for a matte black or champagne bronze finish. Similarly, changing out light fixtures is another way to incorporate some of these new trends without doing a complete overhaul of your current layout or your current design. And another color that we've seen flooding the market recently has been green. And green is one of my favorite colors, so I was really, really excited to see this shift. And I will tell you all, both of the pictures that you see above are from model homes that I've designed over the past 2 years. And we still run all of our model home designs by the owner of our company. And for those of you in the audience who know him, he doesn't do the best job of hiding his feelings or his thoughts. So when I had to go to him to present the model home that I wanted to install green cabinetry in the kitchen, he just sat back and kind of looked at me. So I just moved right along and talked about everything else I was going to put into this home. And I could tell something wasn't sitting well with him. So, of course, at the end, he kind of stepped back and he looked at me and he was like, "Green? Really? Green? Are you sure?" He wasn't, but I was. And I just looked at him and said, "I'm sure. I feel really strongly about this. And I'm just going to need you to trust me on this one." And he did. And thankfully, that model home has been incredibly well received to the point that I actually did another model this year with a different shade of green in the kitchen, and he didn't even question me at all. So I think green is such a fun color, a beautiful way to add accent into your home, add a touch of warmth, and I would almost consider it a new neutral. And Noelle, I know that you deal with color and builders and model homes all the time. So what are your thoughts on green as a new neutral?
Oh, I love it. I love it. And navy is also one that I love that now is considered a new neutral. So be fearless when it comes to greens and navies.
Couldn't agree more. Another thing that we're seeing really shape trends in 2024 are customizable and high-end appliances. And lots of manufacturers now are offering different choices and finish when it comes to the knobs and the hardware that you're seeing. And KitchenAid has recently come out with such a beautiful commercial style range available in several different finishes. Now, of course, I chose to highlight the avocado cream because it's green, and like I mentioned, I am very on board with the green trend. But if you take a look at the swatches, you can also see that there are tons of fun and bold color choices. There's a bright red, a really beautiful mustard yellow. We're also seeing some matte blacks and matte white appliances, and there's even a really soft shade of blue up there. So definitely a little something for everybody's design style preference, and just another great way to add a beautiful pop of color into your home. Okay, so I have to tell you, When I first started my career at Main Street a little over 9 years ago, I certainly didn't think I would be sitting here today, and I definitely didn't think I would be talking about stained cabinetry in kitchens. I will tell you, aside from the past 12 months, I would say that less than 10% of my customers were selecting stained cabinetry in their kitchen. It just wasn't something that we were getting requests for. We didn't have people asking about it, and now in the last 12 months, we are seeing it everywhere. And the picture that you see up there on the left is actually from one of Main Street's recent models, designed by one of our design consultants, Allison. She did such a fantastic job, and you can see that the entire kitchen features stained cabinetry. And I will tell you, when people are walking through this home, that is the first thing they comment on. Now, of course, the stain is not the stain of the 90s and early 2000s. It has been updated with a, no oak. But it is an updated stain that has just such a beautiful impact and warmth. It's neutral, and so it's just a really fantastic way to add warmth to the kitchens. And I think that that's a desire that we're really seeing from our customers today.
Kelly actually brings up a good point. I think with the desire for warmth in kitchens, I'm starting to see my customers gravitate a little bit more towards the natural beauty of hardwood floors. Now, we all know EVP has been the #1 choice in flooring for years, but I've seen a little bit of shift due to some of the major enhancements we're seeing in hardwood today. One of the brands that we use at Eastwood is Mohawk. Now, Mohawk offers great product that is a engineered hardwood, watertight joints, making the product water resistant. But what's also great about this product is the wear layer is 4 times greater scratch protection than your ordinary hardwood floor. I'm curious to kind of see from the panel members what they're seeing as far as flooring trends, what your customers are starting to navigate to.
Well, because I'm based in coastal Virginia, I really find that most of my buyers are gravitating still to the LVP, the luxury vinyl plank flooring. They want waterproof floors because they're coming in from the beach. They have pools, everybody has a pool in their backyard, and they just need to make sure that their floors are going to last for a long time and be protected as far as water surfaces go. So that definitely, between that and with Mohawk, with the Revwood collection, and which I'm a huge fan of, and I try to encourage that flooring just because it provides both the watertight seal as well as the scratch-proof quality.
Yes, it's what I have in my house. I love it.
And moving on to functionality in kitchens, we have definitely seen a huge increase in the size of kitchen islands. It is rare to walk through a home in new construction and not see a kitchen island. They really have become something that is not just a want, but something that is necessary. And kitchen islands no longer simply serve as additional counter space. These areas tend to be where everybody gathers, where everybody hangs out, and there is no better way to create a statement on your kitchen island than to do a waterfall edge. And that's what you're seeing shown in the center photo above. The waterfall look is achieved by running the countertop material down the sides of the island so that it looks as though it just cascades down and is one solid piece of stone. This is such a beautiful aesthetic, and again, great way to add that designer flair into your home. Similarly, we're starting to see more and more requests for full height backsplashes. And this look is achieved by continuing the countertop material vertically onto the area where you would normally see like a ceramic tile and grout. So the full height backsplashes not only create a stunning visual, but they serve a practical purpose as well. They eliminate grout lines. And as we can all agree, I'm sure, cleaning grout isn't anybody's idea of a good time. Speaking of which, Stephanie is going to talk to us a little bit more today about some current bathroom trends, but there's something that I've been seeing a little bit more in our marketplace, and I'm just really hoping that this is something we're going to be able to offer within our program at Main Street at some point in the near future, are using materials like quartzes and solid surface materials on shower walls. Because again, like I mentioned with the backsplash, such a great way to eliminate tile and grout lines. It's so much easier to keep up with and keep clean. So I'm just curious, Stephanie, is that something that you're looking forward to as well?
I am hoping that one of these days I can get my purchasing department on board with bringing in.
Always the purchasing department.
No offense to
so
anyone
many
in
great
purchasing.
ideas. I just need someone to build it in the back end.
Somebody just needs to listen.
But yes, I am a huge. Again, I try to encourage our buyers when I meet with them. I'm like, you don't want to have grout lines. Tiles are beautiful. The bigger is better. So,
Agreed.
but when it comes to bathrooms, and with bathrooms, they have become a space that's more than just functionality. It's not just let me get in there, take care of business, take a quick shower, wash your hands, whatever you need to do, and get going. It's a place of tranquility. It's a place to escape. I have so many moms that I meet with who are like, I just need a luxurious bathroom to hide from my family. And they know that those kids are going to come knock on their door, but they're going to lock that door, and then they can just turn on the little sound machine, and they're going to disappear. So that's truly what the bathrooms have become. It's a retreat, a wellness environment to escape the busyness of life. So you can see some photos up here of just a couple different design trends that I have found have really become very popular. Like I said, it's a self-care, whether it's replicating a look of a spa at home, or light and bright, or just having all the features to, saunas and spas are really just seeing more like cold spas. What are they called? The cold tanks. Cold plunge, yeah.
Yes.
So then they want to go and have all the extra shower features. So just talking with buyers about all those little details they're putting into their home. The first thing is, I have found, and this is what has been deemed spa-throoms. Don't know if you've heard that, and I have to say it like this: spa-throoms, darling.
Yes.
So, because there's no other way to say it. But one of the products that we offer at Chesapeake Homes that I have found buyers really love, and while it's a pricey feature, but it really replicates and brings some of those at the spa in their home, and that's the Mow and Use Spa. And if you're not familiar with this, it is so fantastic. If you're laying in bed in this morning, it's still dark outside, and it's cold and chilly, you can have your set shower, and you open the app, press your button, and let the shower preheat. And then when you're ready, when it's heated up, you just go and jump in the shower, and all the right shower sprays are on for you. So it's phenomenal little spa experience at home that has been incredibly popular. But some buyers, they don't want to necessarily have that level of investment. So we do offer and have found a very popular are just regular shower heads, like the rain shower head, adding in body sprays, or the handheld, because some people do like to future-proof and think about when they are cleaning the shower, or if they're just have back issues and they just want to be able to have that handheld on a slide bar. Have you ladies experienced that buyers are looking for things like that?
I definitely have seen an increase in people requesting the rain can shower heads. It's typically men. A lot of times the women are like, no, like I'm not about that. I don't want to get my hair soaking wet. No, thank you. But I do think that they're a fun feature. And I think, like you were saying, bathrooms are more often than not these days kind of a retreat and a place to just get away for a minute. So I think anything you can do to kind of create that at-home spa feeling is definitely something that people are looking for, and I think that'll continue.
Agreed. All right, so as far as tiles go, as we were talking about kind of the intro with large format tiles, less grout work, but also seeing a big uptake in intricate patterns. So this is something that I like to encourage my buyers to think about using in secondary spaces, like a powder room or a guest bathroom or even a laundry room, because sometimes a pattern tile can be a little overwhelming, and I know there's sometimes hesitancy of whether or not they would get tired of seeing the same pattern on their floor or shower wall every day. But so it creates a great memory point for when you're entertaining and you have a guest over and they go into your bathroom downstairs and they find a really fun pattern tile on the floor. It just makes for a really special experience in a bathroom, but also in a laundry room as well, because you have the kind of tedious chore of doing laundry and folding, and if you have a really cool tile, it just makes for a really beautiful environment. Also seeing a lot of patterns, so whether it's a hexagon, a chevron, or herringbone on the floor or a wall, it's not necessarily about the color, about bringing in multitudes of color or pattern, but that letting the pattern itself speak for the design. So it gives a subtle a little bit of interest, visual interest, but also bringing in those dark, rich tones, creating a moody space. I hear that a lot. Moody, modern, boho, moody boho. So you can see that with the green, as Kelly was talking about trending. So green, moody tile in a bathroom is just something that really gives a little bit of a wow factor.
Stephanie, what I'm loving about these pictures here is the really fun patterns and bold colors. Whether it's installed on a bathroom floor or a shower wall, it certainly makes for a great statement piece. Now, I do have one question for you ladies. It is probably because I am a huge fan, but is heated floors still kind of a popular request you're seeing from buyers? Or are they still hopping rugs like I am?
I do get asked for it from time to time. It is something that, unfortunately, I can't provide in the production building world. Would love to. I want it in my house.
Exactly.
So very badly. But no, I do on occasion get requests for it. But unfortunately, I have to say it's not something that we're able to offer as a production builder. All right. LED backlit mirrors. Ladies, you probably are familiar with these, maybe a few gentlemen too. I feel like that's a little bit of an influence from hotel and resort properties, because if you're staying here in the hotel or you've gone stayed on vacation, you've maybe experienced one of these LED mirrors, and you just don't have any better lighting than one of these mirrors. You can see how well your makeup goes on. You don't have to have a separate makeup mirror on your vanity, so it clears off your countertop space. You can make sure that your eyebrows are on point. So again, as a production builder, that's not something that we offer, but what I am able to help buyers in order to kind of plan for the future with that is provide the electrical wiring in place behind where the mirrors would go, and then not install the bathroom mirror, so that when they close on their home, they can do their Wayfair or Amazon shopping, pick out the LED cool mirrors that they like and install that after closing.
Now, ladies in this room, that's flawless makeup in one go, all in one. Clean countertop, or just more for our other beauty
All
products?
other products.
All the things.
I love these.
All right, this is where it gets really personal in my design appointments. We talk about all the things. I get to know them really well. And I have learned that what is deemed robot toilets by some is very popular. So because I'm based in Hampton Roads, we have a huge military presence, as you're probably aware. And so I work with a lot of buyers that have lived all over the world, especially like in Singapore and Japan, stationed over there. And they've experienced these toilets, and they want to bring them home. So they tell, we are outfitting their bathroom with these toilets, or providing the electrical functions for it. And whether it's a bidet, a self-cleaning toilet, a toilet seat that's heated, it really becomes a conversation piece, and something that's becoming a necessity and very achievable for anybody. Kohler's got some great toilets out there, if there's such a thing. You can see them on the screen. But whoever designed the toilet to begin with had never cleaned one. So these are so simple. They're streamlined, sleek sides, easy to maintain. They do all the things. They keep, not only are they easy to clean, they keep you clean, I guess. But yeah, very popular. And so just don't be afraid to have these conversations if you are working with a client, and making sure that they're thinking through what their needs are going to be once they move into the home.
And people have really, really strong opinions about toilets. Like, it's not something that we just glaze. Like, people talk about it, they sit on them, they lift the lids up. Like, it's a whole thing. So it's something that we talk about with our customers all the time. So, it's worth mentioning for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the conversation. So, we're talking about these bigger pictures of how we help our buyers, but Noelle, how are you seeing design influence in like the details when you're focusing on models?
Well, I could talk design details all day. I might be just a tad obsessed when I go to furniture market. I may or may not have made out with a rug or two. Might have happened. I am extremely passionate about design, but we're going to keep it to just a few elements here. The first we're going to start with is fluting. We're seeing fluting everywhere, and I love it. Fluting is a detail that has been seen throughout history in architecture and design. but we're seeing it kind of reimagined, if you will, and sometimes in its classic form, which, as we all know, nobody's really recreating the wheel here. Most design elements and trends are based on something from the past that's being retooled, reworked, and reimagined in a modern setting or a modern way. The green cabinet on the left is a good example of how people are incorporating fluting. You see it predominantly on the cabinet doors at the lower part of the cabinet, but I can't help, maybe I've been looking at thinking fluting too much, but is it just me, girls? But is the shiplap in the back almost leaning into the fluting idea as well?
Absolutely. I think that's a really achievable effect that we as a builder can create. It's a visual interest. It's the vertical linear just draws your eye up and elongates and opens the space even more. So I love the idea of vertical shiplap.
You'll also see the fluting in that really cool farmhouse sink in the apron, which I just think is so smart. The apron is generally kind of not really thought about for any details. It's just a flat surface. And here they've taken advantage of an opportunity to do kind of a recessed fluting detail. It's gorgeous. We're also seeing it in cabinetry, in both furnishings and kitchen cabinetry, especially in glass fronts. That's a great opportunity to incorporate fluting. And you'll notice that it's really, you're able to use it in a lot of different styles. It's not just for traditional settings as it historically has been. On the right, you see the kitchen cabinet. That's kind of a farmhouse vibe. But then looking at the cabinet below, the black cabinet, that's a pretty modern, clean line with the metal legs. So that shows you can really take advantage of fluting in any kind of style. Again, you're seeing it everywhere. That stool is a good example. It's in accessories, it's in boxes, anything you can imagine. And that stool is a good example of something that's versatile. It can be used indoors or outdoors. And as a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we're not seeing soon, if we're not already, you girls can speak to this, some fluting details occurring in exteriors. Are y'all seeing any of that?
I definitely think that this is something we've started to see more and more in our market. And it's generally done on, very contemporary exteriors. So a lot of times you'll see a really dark finish on siding, like a charcoal or iron gray, and then it'll be paired with a really beautiful natural wood element and kind of those linear lines again. So I think that we're definitely going to see more and more of that going forward.
Love it, yeah. So then another thing that's a blast from the past, for a while it was, and I myself, when I was searching for a house once, was just a few years ago, I will not own a home with arched windows. Now I love them, and my home has them everywhere. They're back, and they're back with a lot of style. The picture on the left is a good example of a more modern setting for an arched window, kind of mid-century, if you will. I love the fact that you see, yet again, in the cabinetry, a fluting detail. The way they did this is so gorgeously intentional to make the arch really the focal point. Do you girls see how that's happening there?
Noelle, my eye actually went directly up to that curve of that mirror.
Yeah.
And then bringing that organic flow of the fluted cabinets underneath that, with those paired beautifully with those black sconces, it almost makes the ceiling look taller.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
I agree. You're also seeing arches again in furnishings. The black bookcase is a good example of, it has a touch of tradition to it with the mullions, but it still has a little bit more of a transitional, more modern feel, if you will. We're also seeing arches like you see here in the end table, it's inverted. It's accomplished through a relief, if you will. Again, a pretty contemporary feel for something that's incorporated what would traditionally be an element of tradition as an arch. Of course, arches are being used in room transitions, as they always have. You see one here in the kitchen. That's a very traditional application of an arch, utilizing the trim to really highlight that nice, soft, curved line. And I have to say, the picture to the right, below the bottom right of the windows, I love the way that they have accomplished an arch in that window. I think it's so smart, and it's beautiful. I love the strength of those corners, and it really makes the softness of that curve just so strong, but yet so beautiful. What do you girls think about that? I mean, I feel like that's a window that you're going to love, hate maybe, but
I love it. And the best thing about that is you can see that, while it gives the arched visual, it's actually a rectangular window. So now this isn't going to be as easy as changing out cabinet hardware or a light fixture, but it could be another way to just incorporate some of these trends into your existing home because, again, it's a rectangular shape, so you could put a regular window back in place if you ever got tired of it. But I love it, and I think it's such a beautiful design aesthetic.
I agree. Fireplaces are another opportunity to incorporate arches into your interior designs. And speaking of fireplaces, man, we are having some fun with those, aren't we, girls?
Love them.
Yes. With the new, so many options and shapes, we've lost our. Well, I'll just talk anyway. So we have a lot of options now as far as fireboxes go. We have the linear with the traditional square fireboxes.
Emily?
And then the linear. We're looking for help. But I don't think any is coming.
Amy, go find Emily.
Oh, someone's going to help. Sorry, guys.
Oh, terrible. Yeah, we're frozen over here. Sorry about that, everyone. Of course we're going to
Crack more
cut
jokes
up
for us,
to a
Beth.
photocopy, right?
Well, I guess right now is a good time to just do a Q&A maybe of what
Right.
discussing.
Sure.
Why not?
If
Why
anybody
not?
wanna
Yes.
Ask any questions about bathrooms or kitchens?
Hi, Emily, to the rescue. Thank you. It wasn't me. That's all I got to say.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you still seeing a lot of the appliances being panel ready? Do you still have kitchens mainly panel appliances?
So it's not something that I've been seeing very much of lately, and it's not something that I've been getting a lot of requests for. I also think it would really depend on the style of home that you're trying to create, and if you're going for maybe more of a traditional aesthetic, then I could definitely see, somebody looking to have that paneled look, or, depending on where the appliance is in the kitchen, if it's something that's kind of right in the middle of your cabinetry, then by all means, I could definitely see that being a great spot to add the paneled look.
We are back. Thank you, Emily.
Fireplaces.
Okay, so back to fireplaces. Like I was saying, in case you missed it in the chaos, we do have options now in shapes of fireboxes, and builders are really taking advantage of these. We have the traditional square, and then we have the linear. One thing that I am seeing play out over and over so well is the floor-to-ceiling tile fireplaces. There's so much opportunity with that, with all the different tiles out there. You can really have a lot of fun with it. You can make them pretty subtle, like the two examples I have here with nice neutral colors. Or you can go really bold. I mean, I've seen some really sort of like the green tile that Stephanie had in her slide earlier. It really makes this huge impact. The one on the left, I particularly love. It's a smaller tile. They've laid it in the vertical, so it really draws that eye up to the ceiling. It's, again, a subtle neutral tone, but then it has that sheen on it that kind of lends to a glamorous feel, if you will. Dare I say sexy?
Sexy.
Yes, always sexy. And the other is more of a matte, but still beautiful and very well done. The center fireplace is another trend that we're starting to see. Again, you see fluting above the fireplace itself. This is a product that we're seeing more and more, and we're really taking advantage of in some of the models too. The brand that we've been using the most is Wood Up, but I think there were like 4 or 5 different companies that are actually making it. And these are panels that you can install that's pretty easy to manage, and they have huge impact, as you can see with this fireplace. And then of course this particular fireplace is a very simple but very beefy, if you will, trim surround, the white piece there. And I love the contrast between the two. Then we have the shiplap. Shiplap is still an important aspect, not so much as in the typical horizontal white that we've seen throughout the past 10 years. Now we're seeing it move into vertical applications, painted bold colors. So we're getting away from that traditional Chip and Joanna look and doing something a little different with it. One thing I want to point out too is that of the 5 images that you see here, only 2 of them have mantles. So be brave. You don't have to have a mantle on a fireplace. It's not necessary. You can see 5 great examples here where the mantles are beautiful, but then they're gorgeous without them. What do you girls think? Mantle, no mantle? Do y'all have a
No mantle.
No
No
mantle.
mantle for me. I say make that fireplace around the superstar.
yeah?
And also, just to make note, now my husband may not agree with me, but TVs aren't really attractive. And so you could see in these photos, I'm not seeing them placed above the TV.
No.
Seeing them placed in other areas, making more of that focal point the fireplace. So I have to mention that. I was excited to see that.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
husband's not, but.
Well, and when I walk models with the builders, I'm afraid this is a gender situation where the men are the first ones within the company to go, where's the TV? Where are we putting the TV?
Yeah.
You know, and the women just, you know, where's the art? Where's the mirrors? You know, so yes, men love their TVs, and there are plenty of women out there who do as well. But we are seeing people get away from TVs being your focal point. They were never really intended to be. They're not particularly attractive, as Beverly mentioned. So don't be afraid to move your outlets for those to a different wall and really let your customers have the opportunity to make their fireplace a true gorgeous focal point with art or mirror or whatever. Stone is one thing that you shouldn't discount. I know a lot of people are kind of, you know, put off by stone. It was played out a lot in the early 2000s. We're doing it a little differently now. When we do use it, it used to have a lot of variation in color. The stones were larger, more rounded, if you will, almost, you know, like tumbled. Now when you see a stone fireplace, it's more monochromatic, like the one you see on the right, which is pretty much all white. The stones themselves are more linear, small, a little more angular, if you will. But as you can tell, this is really impactful, and this could be seen in a very modern setting. It doesn't necessarily have to be a rustic setting. So now we're going to talk about trim. And I know there are a lot of different builders here, and production builders will sometimes include trim into their packages. Sometimes they won't, and I understand when you get into design center with these girls, you don't want to hit a no storm. But I have been finding more and more builders kind of offering like one moment. If they're not willing to do a lot of different options for their buyers, they will offer one moment where they can do something really, really cool with their trim. So kind of think about that if it's something that you might be interested in. Your buyers will be blown away by it. It just is something that aesthetically is really pleasing, and it's not a huge investment. You can do some really cool things with trim using some pretty basic boards, if you will. The one on the left is actually a really good example of that, and this is a combination of that paneling that I was speaking of, the wood up product I was talking about, gives it that fluting look again. But then it's flanked by the herringbone look trim detail. Now that is simply like a 1x4 board. They're alternating if you look really closely at it, which creates the herringbone look. The shadows give the line down the center. I just think that's so smart. It's so simple, but it's cost effective, but gorgeous. I mean, what do you think, Beverly?
I can't get enough of fluted walls. I know that I feel like that's all we've been talking about, but this picture alone, just paired with that fun, bold accent wall. Now, what's cool to me with the trim design, to me it almost feels like it's the appearance of curves, but it's not. But it just creates a fun, unique detail with that nice natural fluted right next to it. I'm a fan. Can we please do that in our next model home? Spend, please. If you're out there, I can't see you.
It's in your presentation you're getting tomorrow morning.
Score. Score.
Now, stairs are another fun place to do an unexpected trim, and this is a great place really for production builders to offer that, one joyful moment of trim, if you will. Stairs are generally a function, we're moving up, we're moving down. Could be somewhat of an afterthought as far as doing something aesthetically pleasing. But I love the way they've incorporated the herringbone look in the green wall. It kind of speaks to the up and down movement of going up and down the stairs. The one on the far right, I'm going to mention twice now, but I love the fact that they have added, who would have ever thought to put that beautiful trim detail below the stringers of the stairs.
Genius.
It's a wall, it's
Genius.
a piece of drywall you would never think to treat, but this is just so gorgeous in my opinion. The picture in the center, I think, is a really smart trim detail. Now, I will say, every single year I read multiple articles, and this has been going on for 20 years, that say accent walls are out. They're never out.
It's not true.
It's not true. They're doing smart. They need to have meaning, and I tell my designers that all the time. Don't paint a wall a different color just for the sake of painting a wall a different color. Give it meaning,
Yes.
make it have impact,
Attention.
or just don't paint it at all. This is a great example of a really impactful accent wall. I love the fact that they have, every measurement is just perfectly aligned to all the other elements in the room. Each of the sconces is framed perfectly, the art is framed perfectly, the headboard, everything was so well thought out. And then they added, what was it, Kelly? The new neutral?
The pop of green?
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So well done. And again, not a huge investment. The last two pictures, again, the stringer stairs, brilliant. But the one thing I want to point out about these two images is you don't have to necessarily paint them a bold color. Trim can be very impactful white on white, as you see in these two pictures. So, let's see. And then, my favorite of all the things, color. Every year, as you all know, our different paint manufacturers announce their, and Pantone, announce the color of the year and the color palettes of the year. They each not only have a color, but a whole story that they put out with it. It's almost like Christmas to me every year when it comes out. It's very inspiring for me and my team for what we're going to do in the days to come. So,
Paint's exciting to Noelle. That's probably one of the most nerve-wracking parts of any design project is paint. So I'm thankful you're all excited. But three different manufacturers, surprise, surprise, they all have different ideas of what the color of the year should look like. That's always, every year, I feel like. Now, Noelle, tell us why it's important for builders to know about these colors of the year.
well, the one thing that we take advantage of for our builders, depending on what their paint vendor is, whether it's PPG, Benjamin Moore, or Sherwin-Williams, we take those colors and we apply them in their models, and it sets up an opportunity for cross-marketing. And I promise you, you're using Sherwin-Williams and you hashtag them in your Instagram images of your models, they will return the favor. So it's just that much more coverage for you out there.
Which one's your favorite, Kelly?
Well, I, of course, like the kitchen. I like the black cabinetry. I love the bold colors. And, like I said earlier, I think that is something we're going to continue to see. And I also find it interesting, like you mentioned, that every manufacturer, every paint company picks a different color every year. So it's always interesting to see who comes up with what, knowing that they're never, ever going to be on the same page.
The one thing I do want to point out too, and you may or may not be aware, but design and these trends and colors, they're all really reflective of the collective emotions of society. So like we were talking about the softness of the arches, we've been through some pretty tough stuff lately as a society. So we're moving into we're wanting softer things around us. You'll notice here that quite a few of these colors of the year are softer colors. They're also kind of bright in a way. Mm-hmm. So that is reflective of our desire for optimism. And then you have the darker ones, of course, which are in complete juxtaposition to the bright ones, but that's the need for warmth, So when you see these trends and these things, they're speaking to your heart and your soul. And that's where really fashion, both in interiors and in clothing, they capture our collective emotions.
Awesome. Well, that wraps up today our 2024 design trend presentation. We've got about maybe 10 minutes left. If anyone has any questions, I think Emily's around here with the microphone, maybe. Jeff, we may not need a microphone.
I was going to say, you could just
Jeff.
yell.
You all, I speak pretty loudly. Great presentation. Thank you all very much for this. I'm very impressed with what you put out here today. Obviously, my question is around fireplaces. I love the slide that you did with the fireplaces. Knowing that the NAHB has done these surveys, 70% of home buyers insist on having a fireplace in their home. but we're seeing less and less homes with fireplaces. I'm curious why you think that's happening, and if it has something to do with the television. I truly think that's part of it, is people are discounting the fireplace because it's become the TV ball versus the center focal point of a gathering place.
I mean, yeah, I can see how that may be contributing to it. I'll be honest with you, I think it's portability. Yeah,
Agreed.
I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's looking for a way to get those prices down for their buyers, and unfortunately, I think that's, yeah.
I'm curious on that though too, and I don't get to make this point very often, so I'll make it now.
Yeah.
The fireplace is an option, always. Almost every builder now, it's not standard.
It depends on our community.
No. It's very rarely, trust me, I sell them for a living, I talk to them all the
Yeah,
time. And I'm not saying, in the custom world, they're always there, but when they're building houses, sometimes it's just deleted, especially in multifamily, right? And understandably why.
I was going to say more so in multifamily, because in our single families, we do include them, but yes.
Well, I'm not speaking about
yeah.
you guys, I know the two of you really well. I know
Yeah, get it straight.
That was not a dig on you, Kelly.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Either. We work with you guys too. People on the stage do a great job. I'm just thinking industry-wide.
Yeah.
I feel as though it being an optional part of the house, it makes it easier to separate it. But for the builder, it's just a profit center. So why?
So I'll speak to that for Chesapeake Homes. So it is included in some of our communities. It really comes down to price point. And I have found with buyers, because it's not functional heat producing in the same way as a wood burning fireplace, they see it more for an aesthetic purpose and therefore not necessarily worth the investment. So that tends to be what is the differentiator. And we're not, as a builder, we're not going to do wood burning at this point.
So that's us doing poor education. And I'm serious. I want to know that feedback because we do have furnace-rated fireplaces that will do that. But obviously, we're not getting that word out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
So,
great feedback.
yeah, we'd love to hear more about that.
Yes.
What is your all's view on trends with wall sconces?
I just did a house with 23 wall sconces.
It's funny, wall sconces scare
It's
me.
such a
I always,
thing.
yeah.
And I have to have exact measurements
Yes.
in a room. And so it was like 3 pages of electrical diagrams and specification. It was a lot. It was a lot. Yes, it's a thing.
I will tell you this, they're out there, they're battery operated. You don't
Yes.
have to hardwire them all. We put them in models all the time now because they're out there battery operated. They're beautiful, to wash a wall with light, it's such a nice warm thing to have in a home. Flanking a mirror, flanking a really wonderful piece of art. So
Each side of every bed in every bedroom.
maybe not so much for Stephanie, but they do provide, I think, a really beautiful aesthetic, and they add, I think, a touch of softness as opposed to those overhead vanity lights that we have seen for so many years. So I was not aware of the battery operated option though. So that's
Amazon, baby.
Yeah.
good. That is good to know.
Neutral wall color of choice?
For us, City Loft, Sherwin-Williams.
City Loft
Yes,
has been a big
I
one.
love how it's very light. It's not gray. I kind of call it like an oyster because depending on how the light comes into the room, it can change. Be a little grayer, a little warmer. Just really a really nice soft light color.
I like Greek Villa, which is a beautiful shade of white. That's what I painted throughout my entire home. And originally, when it's your home, it's a little bit harder to make these decisions. But I will tell you, I've been in the house for over a year now. I don't regret it one bit. It adds such a beautiful warmth to our space, and I love it.
Great Villa was mine too.
What color?
Greek Villa by Sherwin-Williams.
You all talked a lot about production building. I'm a production builder. In fact, I'm a friend of Chesapeake Homes from the same area. Custom homes, didn't hear anything about like wallpaper or faux paint. Is that still around at all?
Wallpaper, yes.
But how about faux paint?
Wallpaper is definitely
All the
around.
rage, 100%.
Yes.
Yes.
So I do a lot of slick walls. So we have textured walls would be included like throughout all of our homes. But I am doing slick walls for buyers because they are planning on doing wallpaper. So that's definitely a great option, something to consider. when meeting with clients.
Faux finishes, no.
No, I was gonna say.
Faux finishing, no. Maybe texture, like she's talking about.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I was a faux finisher once. Not proud to admit that. But anyway,
And do you have a question?
that's a trend I don't know that we'll see come back.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I realized I was looking at all of the kitchens that y'all had showed, and I realized I was looking at like the crown molding, and all of it's like this, like flat stock. Is that like the trend now, or are people they've gotten away from like the exotic, like crown molding around like the cabinets?
I think we're seeing, again, it goes more towards that desire for something that's easy to keep up with, easy to maintain. So we do see, right, yeah, more of like the cove, softer crown moldings with a little bit of the curve to them. We don't see a ton of the really strong traditional crown molding like we used to, right? Yeah.
Any other questions? Well, we hope,
Yep.
we got someone. There you
Do
are.
you have any other lighting trends like LEDs in kitchens? I know you guys mentioned mirrors. Is there, I know there's under cabinet,
Under cabinet,
but difference between them? Are you seeing people use RGB, like all sort of, just any of that?
Those aren't part of the conversations that most buyers are bringing to me. So that hasn't really been on the radar. I do see, there's some trends that I see that we're not fulfilling as a builder, like not just under cabinet lighting, but like toe kick lighting, which is something that I think I love the aesthetic of it, and I think it could be really practical as well. We're just not necessarily as on trend as far as that goes and equipped to make the cabinet changes. But LED lighting, like fixtures themselves, or are you talking about like puck lights? How do you refer to?
Just a transition between doing light strips away from like the old,
The xenon.
like the
linear.
halogen bulbs. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
walls with the discs and stuff like that.
I do see a trend of doing more of that tape lighting. I think that when you have a linear light, it's almost just making a spotlight on that one counter,
Right.
but doing that linear across that whole cabinet box creates more of a nice lighting. So I'm seeing a little bit more of that now. I'm thankful we are no longer seeing boobies. They have all now transitioned to LED lights. Now, whether you're using recessed or a surface-mounted LED light, I think a surface-mounted LED light, electricians may enjoy installing those better than a true recessed, but we're still seeing the LEDs, no more boobies. What color nipple would you like? Okay, I'm gonna stop right now.
She warned you, so.
I have not.
No negative feedback on the survey, she warned you.
All right, well, we hope you all leave here today laughing, some fresh ideas. Thank you all for being an amazing crowd. Thank you so much.